From lashes for days with the viral Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara to lift and color from their brilliant eye brightener, Thrive Causemetics is the go-to for amplifying everyday looks. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
Welcome to the Awakening Women Show. I'm your host, Leanne Oten, a former counselor with a background in counseling psychology. I'm a mentor for high-achieving, ambitious women with over 13 years in the mental health and empowerment space. I've guided hundreds of women and have influenced over 100,000 through my platforms, podcast, and other courses, programs, and mentorship. I'm also the creator of the Relationship Clarity Program, formerly known as End the Cycle, which you will hear me mention a lot of times as we go through the episodes. This program is to help women break free from destructive relationship cycles and come to clarity and power about their next step. This show is for the woman who knows her relationship struggles go deeper than the usual conflict. You know there's something more going on, but you can't quite nail it down or pinpoint what that is. You'll find clarity here, empowerment, truth, and validation. Clarity on whether your relationship can be healed or whether it's time to reclaim your life and move forward. What started as me sharing my own experiences quickly became a movement because the truth is, so many ambitious, successful women are stuck in confusing and draining relationship dynamics while trying to rise in every other area of their life, career, motherhood. This is you, you're not alone, and you don't have to keep living this way. Inside this podcast, you'll hear some of my most downloaded episodes, plus fresh content designed to help you break patterns, reclaim your wholeness, and decide once and for all if this relationship is where you belong. I'm so glad you found this space. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to the Awakening Women podcast. It's been a while since I hit record on this mic because truthfully, behind the scenes, I have been going through a lot of big changes and just transitions. You know, I've been doing this work with Awakening Women and even beyond that, 6 years before that as a counselor, before moving online, closing my counseling practice, no longer practicing that modality. However, I have been working very closely with clients over the last 6 years with Awakening Women. And through my own evolution and doing my best to continue showing up despite whatever might be going on behind the scenes, this still remains my passion and purpose. And I had to take a few steps back because I'm going through my own big transition. So with all of that, it was health, it was logistical, like with my home and my oldest daughter making her way out of the nest, the last one of my children. They're not children anymore at home. So I have all these things simultaneously conspiring and I have been on my own awakening journey to understand what this next phase of life is asking of me. So before I get into really the meat of this episode, a quick update is that I am selling my home and I am moving into a new chapter. And through this change that I have been resisting really heavily for a while, of staying put in this house and not wanting to leave it because I adore this home. It's my sanctuary. It was the first home I ever owned on my own as a woman, single woman. And there's a lot that I'm attached to around this house. And as I kept digging my feet in and telling myself that I am not leaving this house because I love it and all the things, the universe kept giving me signs that it was time to let go of what I was gripping so tightly to hang on to, and that I was gripping on to something that I couldn't hold on to, which is having my daughters stay with me and be in the same home with me. I think I was having a harder time with that than it is actually leaving the house. I love my home. The energy of my home is very healing, and anyone that comes into the home immediately feels that. And it's been a process of letting go. So maybe you're in a season of letting go of something. If it's a relationship, if it's a career or one way that you've been doing things in your work or your business, that it's time to make a shift. Maybe it's like me, it's letting go of kids as they're getting older. It's a slow, progressive letting go as they get older, right? Even in their teens when they don't need you as much. They need you, but not as much, right? As when they're little. So that progression starts to prepare us early on. But I don't think anything fully prepares you when you have truly made your life purpose about being a good mom. And there's a lot of negative connotations with that, with people saying that that's codependency or that's unhealthy, that you can't make your child your purpose. Well, I believe that I did. And I had other areas that have felt like my purpose. But truthfully, being a mom is the greatest, if I want to say, accomplishment, like raising my children and going through that, giving them things that I did not get, doing my best, never perfect, but always wanting to grow and always wanting to do better. It was wonderful. And I look back on all of it as hard as it was, and I wouldn't change anything that I did as far as devoting myself to that and evolving as a woman and mother. But that chapter is closing and it's changing into a different type of relationship, right? And so you might be facing that if you have teenagers or young adults. Maybe you are facing the same thing, having to let go of a home. I hear this all the time with women, and I've worked with many clients who just grip on to I don't want to leave my home in the divorce or whatever. If I leave, I've got to leave my home. So you might be in this place of not wanting to leave your home. And this has required a new level of my spiritual faith of I'm being challenged to trust the process. So what I have found, and this is true across the board, I think, in life, is the more you try to force something to work that maybe it's telling you something different, like to go in a different direction, the more you try to force it, the worse everything gets, or the more it's going to create other problems in your life. So I'm also of the belief that everywhere that we find ourselves in life is where we are meant to be in that moment. Everything in time and space, every decision, every thought, feeling, emotion led to the choices that led to the now. This is true for all of us. This is why I'm such a big believer in taking full ownership for our lives. No matter what is in front of you, it is a culmination of some things that are not within our control and some things that have been. See, we do have choice, but we don't always have control. And so this whole season of trying to figure out what's next while also resisting what I'm being shown, I was creating a lot of suffering because I was not listening to what I was being shown because I'm stubborn. And it led to, there was costs to that. And this can happen in any area of life. We're supposed to flow with what is. And sometimes in life, we are given more lessons to teach us that we do have to learn how to surrender to what is in front of us and then make choices about what comes next. So maybe you're in this place yourself. What is it right now that you are grappling with? What's the decision? What's the thing you are trying to force while being shown that it's not working, or there's just something not lining up? So for me, it has been staying in this home because I love this home. And I probably would stay here for the rest of my life with my dogs. But there was something more I was being called toward that is going to be more about growth and healing and evolution and learning to trust again and learning to trust myself and learning to go about this next chapter from self-sourced power that I've been talking about since I launched the Self-Sourced Woman Collective last summer. It was about a year ago. I had a smallish group that I put together for the Self-Sourced Collective. And it was a magical experience to see how powerful the teachings are and the broadcasts that I put into the Telegram channel. And everything that the women were doing in that space completely shifted everything for them. Women were exiting relationships that they were really stuck in very quickly, which is true for the work that I do. That's my track record, is quick shifts and things move. As soon as you make a decision and you're spiritually connected and you're connected to yourself, things move at record speed. Like speed that everyone else is going, what the hell happened? And so self-sourcing means that we are always we can love everyone else, of course, but we're learning to put our own needs first. What do I need in this season of my life? I've had to ask myself that many times. What am I being called toward? Receiving, ease, calm. And even just like the next iteration of Awakening Women, what that is, it's going to be elevated. It's going to be more depth because of my own journey. And so as I am doing my evolution work, it is brought into my work naturally. And so I'm going to be doing another 30-day boot camp that is my original OG program and the cycle, but it's going to be like a 2.0 where I'm actually bringing in some of this spiritual piece into it to help you to learn to surrender and to be able to let go of the things you're gripping and you're grasping and you're resisting, because this is when everything opens up. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I agonized over the decision to sell this house, I would say for about a year. Since last year, I was considering, but it didn't feel like the right time. There were other things in my life that made it like it just wouldn't make sense to do. I still had both my daughters at home. And I decided, no, I'm going to revisit this potentially like next year, like next spring. And so as this time approached, my youngest moved out. My oldest was planning to move out at the end of summer, beginning of September, to move 2 hours away. I started to feel into, all right, what's next for me? And it was kind of like just refusing to accept what I was being shown, because I am a stubborn woman and I love my home. So if you've ever lived in a home that you really love, then you probably have some understanding around that. And so there was a point in time where I just started moving. I started taking steps. I don't even remember what the first step was. I just started listening to what I was being told or shown, or my own intuition, and I just started taking steps toward this. And then I emailed my realtor and I said, here's what I'm thinking. Here's the date I'd like to list. I gave myself like 3 weeks to get my whole entire house painted and ready for this, like the pictures and everything to be listed. And man, I came close. It was a lofty goal. I came close, needed to have a bit of an extension, just did it at that point. And so we did all the photos and all those things, and it was listed, like whatever it was, like on Monday. I can't remember if it was like the Friday they did the photos and then we listed it on Monday. Well, the very first showing on Monday wanted the house. There was a whole bunch of others listed. So many came in, so many bookings. And the first one that saw it wanted it. It moved so quickly when I made the decision. This is why decision itself moves energy. Because when you have been fighting the decision, you're holding back whatever is going to come to you to guide you forward to the next step. So when I think about other things in my life, as soon as I've decided, it moves. It moves very quickly. I've had this happen in many areas of finances, business, relationship, and then this scenario where it's unheard of in this market. I was expecting, just like every other house that has been listed that I've, even in this area or just in general, like my realtor said, things are not moving any faster than usually 1 to 2 months, typically. So I was sort of preparing myself that I've got a couple of months to kind of breathe and pack and, really just recalibrate to this new decision, the empty nest grief and the emotional roller coaster of that. So I thought I'd have time. Well, that was not in the cards. So I have been just going 1 mile an hour, 100 miles an hour to really move into this next phase of my life. And so the lesson in this is wherever you are, what is the decision right now that you're sitting on making? And everything just feels locked up. You are constantly playing all the scenarios back and forth, like your own personal torture. And you're going in this scenario, that scenario, this, that, and you go back and forth, back to, oh my God, like this is scary, back to safety. No, I'm not going to decide. I'm not going to do the scary thing. Back and forth, we do this until the tension gets so intense that we can't continue on with that tension. And then we need to decide. And decide, the spiritual meaning of decide is literally to cut off from all other options. We make a decision. So I made that decision, even though I had uncertainty. I was reminded of something that I've said for years to women grappling with whether to stay or go. You're always going to have some uncertainty and fear that you're making the wrong decision. So all of this just refreshed all of that when you're making these big decisions and you're letting go and you're grieving the past, you're going to always have a part of you that's like, oh, I hope I'm making the right decision, or what if I regret it? And I've been dealing with that. And so when I finally got the moment that I can't remember what led to it, but I took the first step and I reached out to my realtor and I said, let's do it. I'm going to aim to have the house ready to go on the market at the end of, would have been the end of June. And so we're at July, so like a month and a half, not even a month later. So when you make a decision, things can move very quickly. I just wanted to share that because of many of you are going through something like this. You may be wrestling with a big decision, but the not deciding actually creates a lot of suffering. It causes the energy to lock down. Nothing moves, nothing works, nothing flows, and your energy will be heavy. Your mood will be heavy. You won't have the creative outlet. You won't have that creative side of you. Your intuition is blocked. Usually there's a kink in the hose. And so when you're in that for long enough, it starts to impact other areas of life. It impacts your other relationships because you're in this energetic lockdown. And then your health starts to tell you something is up. you have some kind of health issues or burnout or frequent illnesses or fill in the blank, because the energy is blocked and we need qi flowing, right? When we talk about Chinese medicine and you get acupuncture, the whole premise around it is to get the qi flowing, right? Because we know that stagnant energy creates illness in the body. So with that, I challenge you. What is one decision you've been sitting on that you can take a step forward today? What is one thing you can do? And sometimes it's not one thing as in like when I work with women who are in the stay or go question. It's not like, oh, you need to tell him you're leaving or you need to tell him you need a divorce. No, maybe the first step is let's really get clear on what's actually happening here and what your part is, so you can start focusing in on that and really cultivating your relationship with yourself, because through your own energetic and emotional shifts, it will change the dynamic. And from this place of self-connection and self-devotion, and you're really focusing in on yourself and your own well-being and your own goals, the relationship truth will reveal itself, because the universe removes anything that isn't aligned with that new level. That's how it works. So if something else is meant for you, it will be revealed, but you have to be able to do your part. So what is your part? What's a phone call you have to make? Is there information you need to get? Do you need to get the right support to help you with this? Is it searching something online or getting the facts? Is it setting yourself a deadline for something, some piece of this decision, just like I did? I set myself a deadline and I gave, because they say you use up the time and space you give yourself. So if I said I'm going to do this in 90 days, then I would have filled it within 90 days. I gave myself like 3 weeks and I came close. I did need a bit of an extension, but I moved mountains. The right person showed up that came in to paint my house. She was able to start right away, which is, again, like everything lined up. All of these different pieces just really lined up to be this synchronistic flow of events. But nothing was moving when I wasn't deciding, when I was gripping, when I was refusing to see where I needed to let go. So if this is you and you're in this place, I have a few things. Number one, I am putting a wait list out for those that want to work with me privately in Telegram to work through this, wherever you're at, wherever crossroads you're at. If it's relationship, if it's empty nest, if it's like relationship divorce type thing, relationship clarity, with health, with career, with a move, whatever big transition that you're facing, that fork in the road. And maybe it's all of these things. If you're like many of the women that I work with, you're facing several of these things at one time. And it can be really hard to refine your energy when it's being scattered and it's very unfocused. And so when you have daily access to me in Telegram, that means that Monday to Friday, I get back to you the same day. So if you are sending me a message about what's happening or something you need coaching around or you need support, then you just reach out to me and I respond within that same day. Oftentimes sooner, but at least within the day. And I'm opening up some spaces for that. So how that works is you would get an initial one-on-one deep dive call with me, and then the rest of the duration is through Telegram. I'll put the waitlist link in the show notes. And then I also am going to be running another 30-day End the Cycle bootcamp. This is my OG bootcamp that I started in 2019, the first round. And I'm going to be doing another 30-day session in the fall. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes here for that. And I hope that this episode has served you. Maybe it was something you needed. I know for me, I start looking and asking for signs. And sometimes it comes about in something I hear. It comes about in a teacher. Like I started again because I've listened to Wayne Dyer on and off for many, many, many years. I saw him live at a Hay House event many years ago. he has always been one of my go-to spiritual teachers. So I started pulling my audiobooks up and listening to those again. And there was perfect messages within that for me that I needed to hear. And then I revisited a podcast with someone I stopped listening to for a while. And then it became, the episode was the perfect thing I needed to hear. And a former mentor, re-listening to my course materials from him has really awakened something in me that I needed to get back in touch with. So look at your own life and ask yourself, what do you need right now? What is it that you need in the form of self-care, in the form of like guidance or professional guidance? Maybe you need to talk to a professional. What is one thing you can take off your plate or remove that is an obstacle? Who do you need to reach out to? Like, what supports do you have in place? What about your health? Like, my main healthcare provider is my naturopath. I have a medical, there's a use for general medical advice and guidance, but I find it limited. So I take what I need from it and I run with it. And then I have my functional medicine perspective because that's very important. And then looking at support, who do you have in your corner that actually can support this next phase? It might just be practical things like I needed help getting my house ready. That was huge, huge help. So what is it that you need? And then take steps to fulfill that need for yourself. That's my challenge to you. All right. I hope this has been supportive for you, and I will chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.